What if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that can make you impervious to life's challenges? A system used by emperors, slaves, generals, and entrepreneurs for 2 millennia to maintain calm amidst chaos. It's not magic, it's Stoicism. And in the next 7 minutes, you'll discover how its simple principles can radically transform your perspective. Let's journey back to ancient Greece and Rome, but not for a dry history lesson. We're going for practical tools for the mind. Stoicism originated in Athens but found its true prominence in Rome, thanks to 3 remarkably different individuals: Seneca, the wealthiest advisor to the brutal Emperor Nero; Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest teachers; and Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, the Emperor of Rome. If it worked for them in their tumultuous times, it will surely work for us too. So, where do we begin this simplified exploration of Stoicism? With the core idea that underpins everything. And this is arguably the most powerful, yet simplest tool in the Stoic arsenal. They called it the dichotomy of control. Imagine your life as 2 distinct circles. One small, yet incredibly bright. That's your circle of control. Inside it are your thoughts, your judgments, your decisions, and your actions. That's all. It's your personal empire, where you are the absolute ruler. Surrounding it is a vast, boundless circle of things beyond your control. Other people's opinions, traffic jams, the weather, the past, global events. The Stoics taught, all our anxiety and suffering stem from our attempts to forcefully drag things from the outer circle into the inner one. We rage at a traffic jam, as if our anger could make it disappear. We fret over criticism, as if our worries would make someone change their mind. It's like trying to control the wind. Futile and exhausting. The secret to tranquility is to focus 100% of your attention and effort solely on your small circle, not on what happens to you, but on how you react to it. That is your only true power. But how did this actually play out in practice? Let's take the ultimate Stoic poster child, Marcus Aurelius. Think about it. He was the Emperor of Rome, arguably the most powerful man on the planet. Surely, if anyone could control everything they wished, it would be him. But he was wiser than that. He understood full well that he couldn't control the betrayals brewing in the Senate, the plague ravaging his empire, or the barbarians encroaching on its borders. So what did he do? Every night, often in a cold tent during a military campaign, he would write. He kept a personal journal, what we now know as meditations. It wasn't a book intended for public consumption, but rather a profound conversation with himself. He repeatedly reminded himself, your task isn't to conquer all your enemies or to change the world. Your task is to be a good person, right here, right now, to respond to whatever unfolds with courage, justice, and wisdom. He consistently recentered his focus on his inner circle of control. If the most influential man of his time found strength in governing himself rather than trying to govern the world, perhaps there's a profound lesson in that for us too, wouldn't you agree? Now let's shift our focus from the emperor to his advisor Seneca. Unlike Marcus Aurelius, who sat at the pinnacle of power, Seneca found himself in a far more precarious position. He was one of Rome's wealthiest citizens, a renowned playwright, and an influential politician. But he had one rather unique problem. His boss was Emperor Nero. And Nero, to put it mildly, was far from the ideal boss. Imagine the most toxic, unpredictable, and capricious leader you could possibly conceive of, then multiply that by 1,000. Every day, Seneca went to work not knowing if he'd be praised, or if an order for his execution would be issued. What could he truly control in such a situation? Certainly not Nero's unpredictable rages, nor his rampant paranoia. Seneca could only control himself, his reactions, his counsel, and his dignity. He taught that external events, even the threat of death at the hands of a tyrant, cannot breach our inner citadel unless we permit them to. His life became an extreme masterclass in maintaining composure, and his lessons remain profoundly relevant today for anyone dealing with difficult people or high-stress work environments. From the pinnacles of power, we now descend to the very bottom of society to meet our third great Stoic, Epictetus. His story, perhaps, is the most extraordinary of all. Epictetus was a slave. He owned nothing, not even his own body. Legend has it that one day, in a fit of rage, his cruel master began twisting his leg. Epictetus calmly remarked, "Be careful, you'll break it." The master continued, and the bone snapped. Epictetus merely added, "I told you so." He didn't scream, cry, or beg. Why? Because he had long grasped the core Stoic secret. His body could be chained, his leg broken. He could be sold, or even killed. All of these were in the external sphere, beyond his control. But his mind, his judgments, his choices, these remained absolutely free. He proved that one could be a slave outwardly, yet a king within. Epictetus demonstrated that true freedom is not dependent on external circumstances. It is a state of mind. And if a former slave could find freedom in such extreme conditions, what prevents us from finding it amidst our own daily challenges? But wait a minute. After all these stories of emperors and slaves staying calm in the face of death, a perfectly fair question might have popped into your mind. Aren't Stoics just those stony-faced people who suppress all emotions and act like robots? This is one of the biggest misconceptions about Stoicism, and it turns a lot of people off. Let's debunk that myth right now. Stoics don't advocate for being emotionless. They advocate for being rational. Imagine your emotions are like warning lights on the dashboard of your life. Anger, fear, sadness. They don't just light up for no reason. They're giving you important information about what's going on. The average person, when the anger light flashes, immediately steps on the gas and starts yelling. A Stoic, however, sees that light and says to themselves, "Okay, hold on. What triggered this signal? Is my reaction justified? Will it help me solve the problem, or will it just make it worse?" The goal isn't to smash the dashboard so you don't see those lights. The goal is to become a skilled driver who understands what those signals mean and makes a measured decision, rather than blindly reacting to the first impulse. So how do you become a master of your own emotions? The Stoics had a rich arsenal of practical mental exercises. One of their most well-known, yet initially unsettling practices is called premeditation of evils, or, as we might describe it today, negative visualization. Sounds a bit grim, doesn't it? But in reality, it's an incredibly powerful tool for achieving true peace of mind. Here's how it works. Every morning, before your day truly begins, take a couple of minutes to calmly imagine what could go wrong. Do this without panicking, simply acknowledging it as a possibility. You might be late for an important meeting, your computer could crash, someone you're counting on might let you down. You can even imagine losing something far more precious, your job, your health, a loved one. Why bother with this? The purpose is twofold. Firstly, you mentally prepare for potential difficulties. If they do occur, they won't catch you off guard. You'll already have a plan, and the emotional impact will be significantly softened. And secondly, and this is the most crucial part, after this premeditation, you open your eyes to see that none of these potential woes have actually come to pass. Your computer is working. Your loved ones are safe and sound, and you begin to appreciate what you have far more deeply. It's an inoculation against stress and a powerful antidote to complacency. If the previous exercise felt a little challenging, this next one promises a feeling of lightness and expansive perspective. It's called the view from above. Essentially, it's a guided meditation, a technique even Marcus Aurelius employed to manage the immense pressures of governing an empire. Let's try it mentally right now. Picture yourself lifting off your chair, ascending higher and higher. You see your room, then your house, your entire city. Everything shrinks, becoming smaller and smaller. You ascend further, watching your country become a mere patch on a map, then the entire planet, a tiny blue and white marble in the silent dark. But don't stop there. Soar further, past the Moon and Mars, beyond our solar system, until the Milky Way itself becomes just one glowing spiral among billions of other galaxies. Now from this dizzying, breathtaking height, Try to bring your problem back into focus. That argument that's been bothering you, that stressful task at work, what's happened to them? They've vanished. They've become so utterly microscopic, they're simply impossible to see. This exercise isn't about escaping your problems. It's about seeing their true scale. It's a powerful antidote to egocentricity, a vivid reminder that most of our anxieties are just a storm in a teacup on a tiny planet in an infinite universe. All right, we've learned to focus on what's within our control and to view our problems from a cosmic perspective. But what exactly should we focus on? What's the Stoics' ultimate aim? And this brings us to another pivotal, if somewhat old-fashioned idea. Virtue is the sole good. What does that actually mean? The Stoics weren't advocating for a life of poverty or abandoning success. They acknowledged that health, wealth, and a good reputation are wonderful things, but all of these are merely preferred indifference. In other words, pleasant bonuses, but not the ultimate objective of the game we call life. The only thing that possesses inherent, unconditional worth is the quality of your character, your wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Why is this such a game changer? Because it shifts your self-worth to a place where it's entirely within your control. Did your project fail? But did you approach it with integrity and give it your absolute best? Then, from a Stoic perspective, you succeeded. Were you unfairly criticized? But did you respond with composure and grace? Then you've succeeded once more. This liberates you from the relentless pursuit of external outcomes and allows you to find deep satisfaction in the process itself, in striving to be a virtuous person, right here, right now. Now let's talk about a subject most of us tend to shy away from. Death. The Stoics had a specific term for this, memento mori, Latin for remember death. And much like with negative visualization, this might sound quite grim. But the Stoics didn't view it as a cause for depression, but as the most powerful source of motivation and clarity. Imagine each day as a miniature life, and every morning a fresh start. This constant awareness of our limited time acts as a powerful filter. It helps us sift out everything non-essential, grudges, petty arguments, procrastination, the fear of what others think. All of it instantly loses its significance when confronted with the finite nature of our existence. Memento mori isn't about wallowing in sadness. It's a powerful call to action. It's a question we should ask ourselves daily. If today were my last day, would I be doing what I've planned? And if the answer no rings true too often, then it's time for a change. This practice urges us not to postpone crucial conversations, to take bold risks for our aspirations, and to truly value every moment with those we hold dear. So we've explored the idea of accepting what's beyond our control. But what happens when something truly devastating strikes? Not just a traffic jam, but a real crisis, an illness, the loss of a job, or a profound betrayal. Stoicism offers a radical answer to this, the concept of amor fati, or love of one's fate. This is perhaps the most challenging, yet also the most liberating idea in Stoicism. It's not about passively accepting what happens, nor simply tolerating it. It's about fully embracing it and even learning to love it. Why? Because fighting against reality, against what has already occurred, is a profound waste of energy. It's like yelling at the rain to stop. Amor fati isn't passive resignation. It's active acceptance. It's telling yourself, okay, this has happened. I cannot change the past, but I can accept this fact as the new reality, the new rules of the game, and act in the best possible way based on them. This transforms a victim of circumstance into the architect of their own response. As Seneca said, fire tests gold, and adversity tests strong people. Amor fati is the decision to view every event, even the most tragic, not as a curse, but as an opportunity to demonstrate your finest qualities. The concept of amor fati seamlessly leads us to one of the most quoted Stoic phrases, particularly beloved by Marcus Aurelius. The obstacle is the way. In the modern world, this idea was popularized by Ryan Holiday in his book, The obstacle is the way. What does this truly mean? It means that every problem, every barrier, every difficulty we face isn't just a hurdle in our way. It is the very path itself. Think about working out at the gym. You don't complain that the barbell is heavy, do you? The resistance is what builds your strength. Life is no different. A difficult climb isn't a problem. They're an exercise in patience and negotiation skills. An unexpected project error isn't a catastrophe, but an opportunity to learn to solve unconventional problems and become more detail-oriented. When you begin to view the world through this lens, your entire reality shifts. Problems cease to be sources of stress and transform into opportunities for growth. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone that elevates you. You stop merely coping with difficulties and begin to actively seek them out, understanding that these very challenges are what make you better, wiser, and stronger. So we've explored many powerful Stoic ideas: the dichotomy of control, the view from above, love of fate, or amor fati, and turning obstacles into the way. But how do we translate all this profound theory into daily practice? After all, philosophy without action is just a collection of beautiful words, and the Stoics had a very concrete answer to this: journaling. But not just any journal where you simply describe the day's events. This was a special kind of Stoic journal, designed as a tool for training the mind. In the morning, a Stoic would take a few minutes to prepare for the day ahead. They would ask themselves questions like, what challenges might I face today? What difficult people might I encounter? How can I apply Stoic principles to respond to these situations with wisdom and tranquility? It was a sort of mental rehearsal of the day, a proactive premeditation of evils. Then, in the evening, before bed, they would open their journal again to analyse the day that had passed. They would ask, what did I do well? Where did I make mistakes? Did I give in to anger or fear? What could I have done better? This wasn't about self-condemnation. It was an honest and constructive debrief, much like an athlete reviewing their performance after a training session. This simple habit, taking just 10 to 15 minutes a day, allows you to constantly calibrate your internal compass and transform philosophy from abstract theory into a real, actionable life skill. Perhaps the most striking paradox when studying Stoicism is the realization that the man who best articulated the idea of inner freedom was himself a slave. Epictetus, born into slavery, was lame, and legend has it his leg was broken by his own cruel master. Yet Epictetus taught that the true master is one who controls their own mind. His body could be chained, but his judgment, his choices, and his will remained absolutely free. Meanwhile, his master, despite all his worldly power, was a slave to his own anger, fears, and desires. Quite a twist, isn't it? A philosophy that empowers a slave to be freer than his lord. Stoicism isn't about having a poker face or suppressing your emotions. Instead, it's an operating system for your mind designed to help you maintain calm and clarity in any circumstance. It teaches us to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot, and to find opportunity in every obstacle. It's a path to inner resilience and genuine freedom. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. If these ideas resonated with you, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes. Now, a question for you. Which Stoic principle feels most relevant to your life right now? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to read your thoughts.